Hello, everyone. Good evening. Hope that you all are doing well and in great health. Welcome to the day one of Tech Xplore brought to you by Industry Inspire Talks organization. So, our very first session was quite informative. I hope that you have learned a lot out of it. Now, let's begin with our second session for the day one, which is on AR/VR. So, our speaker for this session is Mr. Lyron Bentovim, who is the president and CEO of the Glimpse Group, an AR/VR company which recently got listed in NASDAQ. And he's going to actually introduce you to the next big cycle, that is VR, AR, and AI. So, Lyron, sir, is here with us in the stream. So, without wasting further time, I'll just add him to the stream and let him introduce himself to all of you and kickstart this particular session. Hello.
Hello, Omkar, and good evening to everyone in India, and good morning here from New York. So it's a pleasure to be with you, and I'm going to share my presentation now and take you guys through an introduction to what I believe is the next big tech cycle that's going to change the way we all interact.
Wow.
Tech cycles are usually 30, 35 years, and we're probably year 7 of this cycle. So there's a lot of upside to be had. And I'm going to talk to you and hopefully get you guys excited about the future of virtual reality and augmented reality. Give me a second to
Wonderful.
share my screen and we'll go straight into it.
Sure. We are very excited, and a lot of things, a lot of people would learn out of this because what you're going to cover is quite new. Yeah, just let me add to the stream. Yeah, great.
Okay, so a little bit about myself. I've been a serial entrepreneur. This is my fourth startup. And between that, I've got multiple experiences as a leader of technology company, as an investor in technology company, as mentor to entrepreneurs. And I've seen what I call the previous tech cycle, which we'll talk about in a minute, evolve from when I was a kid in middle school all the way to being an executive in startups in the space. And I saw an opportunity a few years ago of a new start cycle that's starting. And I built Glimpse, which I'll talk about at the end of my talk, to really be able to play in this emerging cycle. So let's talk first of all about the previous tech cycle. And everyone here has used this. Most of you guys are young enough to have basically born into this cycle. But back in the early 1980s is where this cycle started. And usually tech cycles have 3 different elements that come into play together. The ones in this cycle were PCs, computers, the internet, and mobile. And they all started to really become commercialized in the early 1980s. But as you can see in this chart, it took the first 10, 15 years before they really started taking off. And that is an important kind of message as you look at those tech cycles. They start by having multiple hardware cycles where companies develop new hardware that starts getting some people to adopt it, and then that hardware evolves and more people adopt it, and at some point you have enough scale that the cycle moves from the hardware cycles to the software cycles. So if you look at the beginning of the cycle, the companies everybody gets excited about are hardware companies. If you look at the previous cycle, there are companies like Intel and HP and Cisco and BlackBerry and Motorola and Nokia. All of these companies were big hardware companies. They used to be the biggest companies in the space, the names that everybody wanted to be like. On the second half of the cycle, it's usually software. If you look at the winners at the end of that technology cycle, companies like Amazon and Microsoft and Netflix and Google and Facebook, all these companies are primarily software companies. So that's an important distinction as we think about tech cycles. What happens if you get the tech cycle right? As you can tell from the charts here, and those are kind of old charts, so the stocks keep going higher. But companies like Microsoft that were very early in the cycle, they went kind of up into the bubble years and then kind of continued to go up post the bubble years as a software company. And Amazon obviously started later in the cycle where the technology was ready for e-commerce, and they've been kind of going to the moon ever since. So where are we right now? Right now, we are at the dawn of a new tech cycle. And the three elements of this tech cycle are virtual reality, augmented reality, and artificial intelligence. We're going to focus most of our talk on virtual reality and augmented reality. Those are the technologies that I'm dealing with right now. But artificial intelligence, AI, is going to be a major piece of this cycle. As VR and AR evolve, and we'll talk at the end of the talk about the Metaverse, AI will come into significant play in this cycle and will drive a lot of the second half of the tech cycle. So let's start just by covering what is virtual reality, what is augmented reality, and then go into use cases and places where there's opportunities, and touch on kind of how that industry is going to evolve. And at the end, I'll kind of cover what we do at Glimpse and just give you a quick recap of our company. And then I would be very excited to take a lot of questions from the audience. So virtual reality is a simulated experience that could be very similar to things that we do in real life or totally different. The beauty about virtual reality is that you can make anything you want. And because of the way virtual reality is communicating to us using virtual reality headsets, our brain believes that we're in that world. So we're not watching it through a 2D screen. We are participating in it. And our brain thinks we're there and gives us all the benefits of being part of that experience. The way to consume virtual reality is using headsets. The headsets are basically generating sound that is realistic. It comes from wherever the source of the sound is, and images that look real, and create an immersive environment where the users feel presence. And that's a very important term, presence. When you're in a virtual reality experience, you feel like you're there. The headsets have been evolving. When the industry started, they were all tethered to high-end gamer PCs. Nowadays, with headsets from companies like Quest and Pico, the headsets are untethered, meaning you don't need to have a PC or a phone or anything else to generate the virtual reality experiences. All you need is a headset. And you can take the headsets with you anywhere. And we're just at the beginning of the evolution of the hardware. But already with the Quest 2, there are millions and millions of users around the world that are now part of the virtual reality community. So this is a quick showing of a virtual reality scene. As you can see here, there are students. They are in a virtual reality part of a university. They have with them the capability to do all the things they want to do in this classroom. They've got whiteboards, they've got sticky notes, they can talk to each other, they can present things, they can bring 3D assets. This is kind of the future of education, is you'll be able to go to a school together with people that are not physically with you and get the full benefits of what you can do in that school. Let's jump to augmented reality. Augmented reality basically does almost the inverse of virtual reality. In virtual reality, you put the headset on and you're teleported into a new world. In augmented reality, you take that new world or any information that you have and place that on the real world that we're in. So you look around and you will see 3D objects, 2D objects, there'll be sounds, it'll be interactive, and all of that will tie to the real world we're in. The way you access augmented reality experiences right now is through devices that have cameras in them. They could be smartphones, they could be tablets, they could be smart glasses like the HoloLens from Microsoft. And through those, the camera recognizes the world that we're looking at. It understands where objects are, and you can then apply any objects, digital objects, to that world. They are combined into that video stream, and you see the world being enhanced. So this is an example of a project one of our teams did, which actually allows you to use augmented reality to peer into a different world. So in this example here, we're not enhancing the world around us, we are changing it. So as you walk into this room that you can see in this image, you can actually walk around and look at any element of that room, regardless of where you are. So you're basically teleported to a different place using your camera as your view into that world. So virtual reality and augmented reality, as I said, have limitless potential, which could be scary for anyone trying to kind of build a business in this. But they have a lot of real world applications in the real world, and we're going to cover the different elements of that kind of in this next section of the conversation. So when you look at the opportunities to use XR, and I'm going to use XR here because that's a combination of VR and AR, because all these opportunities tie to both VR and AR. The first use case, the one that's probably most prevalent right now, is in marketing. And I'm sure many of you guys have seen augmented reality in social media. Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook are all actively in the space. We are actually partnering with these companies, and many of the snap lenses you see from commercial companies are made by Curial, one of our companies. But there's a way of using marketing as an important industry and way of utilizing XR right now. The ability to let people see the product that they want to consume in a different light in front of them as they are, and really enticing them to consume those elements. And that's true for augmented reality with a variety of lenses, but also for VR experiences where you can take people to really get to understand the brand and experience things before you go experience them in real life. The second element, very important part of the XR world, is learning. And learning can be applied to a variety of different use cases. From K to 12 education, allowing you to really take the classroom into the world. If you look at how education evolved over the years, as technology came into the classroom, now students in the classroom can peer into the world. As we move with the XR revolution, you'll be able to go into the world. If you want to learn about ancient history, you're not just going to read about it, which is what we did in my generation. You're not just going to watch kind of or search things from Google and kind of learn about that. You're actually going to be teleported using virtual reality into that era and experience that for yourself. That's real learning. Not only is VR and AR very useful for early education, it is going to be a major part of higher education. We are already working with many universities and colleges to bring VR into the classroom, allowing students to do a variety of simulations and lever the tools that we have for learning, like I showed you earlier in that image. The third element of learning is corporate learning. We're working with many corporations to teach their employees how to do their job better. It could be what we call hard skills, teaching them how to operate certain machines, how to maintain them, how to take them apart, how to build them. And soft skills, how to work with each other, how to manage, how to sell, how to serve customers. All of these could be done in simulations that you build in virtual reality, allowing people to train in those before they go into the real world. The third element that XR can be used for is visualization. You can visualize buildings, you can visualize products, you can visualize data. You can take anything that is not in front of you or has never been built and see it as if it has been built, or convert it into a visualization that allows you to better understand it. So that's a very important use case. And the last one is what we call the metaverse. This is the end game of virtual reality and augmented reality, where all of these experiences that have been built will connect together into a virtual world where we can go and entertain ourselves, go traveling in, and actually work in, all in this metaverse. And I'll touch more on that as we move further with this presentation. So virtual reality has applications, as I said, to the modern office, to healthcare, to entertainment, and in education, in many, many industries. And over the next few slides, we'll go into a few, really kind of just touch the tip of the iceberg of some of the use cases that virtual reality can tie into. Here's an example of one of our companies, D6 VR, of the future of a trading station. This is a social event, so you can have two people there talk to each other while they're seeing all this data on 18 big screens and have the ability to visualize data in multiple dimensions in front of them. Very, very powerful. And in the future, the actual offices will be virtual, and people can virtually commute into the office. They'll have their own space in there. They can set up the room with all the things they need technically to have there, and they can go and meet with people, work with people, all without actually leaving their home. That is kind of the future of work, is definitely in virtual reality. This is another quick clip showing kind of what you can do in healthcare. And healthcare kind of is one of those things where it's very hard to train healthcare professionals because they need live patients to be trained on, and patients don't like to be trained on. Virtual reality allows the ability to simulate any medical environment and allow medical professionals, doctors, nurses, administrators to practice all the things they need to do and make sure that they know what they're doing before they touch real patients. Entertainment is another element that virtual reality is going to really bring to the forefront. The ability to see a concert that is happening on the other side of the world live with your friends or with the people that are physically at the concert is something that opens up a lot of opportunities. And all of these use cases, we have companies at Glimpse that are already beginning to participate in and lead the effort of developing these technologies. As I mentioned earlier, learning is an important part of the VR use cases. You can see here a simulation that we've done with one of the universities, where we're bringing the ability to make life decisions in virtual reality. The students, in this example, go through their lives making kind of investment decisions, savings decisions, career decisions, and spending decisions and then the impact of what they're doing is visualized in front of them. Very, very interesting way for them to learn about the decisions that they're going to be making and what they mean. Augmented reality, because it brings data into the real world, has a totally different use case set. We'll touch a few of those around architecture, manufacturing, robotics, and marketing. But as I said, there are many, many use cases for each one of these technologies. Here is an example of a home that is going to be built in this location, that you're actually placing the home in this location before it's been built. So you can really go around and see how it will fit the look and feel and walk around. You can actually walk into the house and see the view from the different windows if you wanted to. Very powerful use case for augmented reality. This is another example of a manufacturing use case. The person on the ground is being helped by someone remotely. They can highlight for them what they need to do without physically being there with them, making sure that you have access to experts and trainers as you're kind of learning to do your job. Another use case is robotic. You can actually, with augmented reality, bring to life robots and control them from remote locations where you can fully interact with those robots, and it's actually a very cool way of running those simulations. Marketing is a clear use case. This is a kind of lens on Snap, and you guys have probably seen a lot of these. And in addition to being cool, they're probably kind of very effective marketing for these brands. So where are we going with the future of virtual reality and augmented reality? So the industry right now, as I mentioned, is very, very early in the game. The virtual reality industry and the augmented reality industry combined are just around $30 billion last year. Most of that has been sales of hardware. As the world continued to grow and really get into use virtual reality and augmented reality, those industries are going to catapult and grow annually, probably at more than 50% each. This is significant opportunity for anyone that wants to either start a company or join existing companies, because this is a really powerful growth industry. One of the things that's going to make a big difference for the future of virtual reality and augmented reality is wearables. Everybody has been waiting for the right form factor for augmented reality glasses that will come first, and then those will probably get virtual reality elements, making it very, very comfortable to spend significant amount of hours in virtual reality and to have augmented reality all around you as you walk around the world. I think the future, as we evolve with these wearables, is initially to get to glasses that will do augmented reality. Then, as I mentioned, those glasses will do virtual reality. And then towards the end of this cycle, probably 15, 20, 30 years from now, it will go into contact lenses where we can really very comfortably spend as much time as we need in that space and move between virtual reality, augmented reality, and the real world without any additional information as we see fit. The next part of the future of this is the metaverse. The metaverse will be a 3D implementation of what we're used to right now is the internet. Everything that we can do will be done on the metaverse. There will be the future of the office. Everybody's offices will be in the metaverse. The future of education, schools will be in the metaverse. The future of travel, we'll be able to travel to worlds that exist and to worlds that are imagined. We can play games, we can hang out, we can meet people, and we can do that with everyone, regardless of wherever they are in the physical world. This is something that is going to change how we interact in a big way. It's not happening next week, but all of the work that all of the companies building in virtual reality and augmented reality will eventually come together to build this metaverse. And I cannot stress enough the power that will have on changing. So as you guys look at your future and try and imagine kind of starting companies, think about what you could build in this world where you're not limited by physical constraints. What can you imagine? What can you make that will draw people in without the need to be in the same physical location as those people and without the need to use any physical material or actually be subject to the laws of physics on Earth? Very interesting, and a lot of room to play with this. Before we finish the kind of the talk and open it up for Q&A, I want to touch a little bit about the Glimpse Group. So when I saw this opportunity of this emerging tech cycle in 2016, I wanted to build a unique model that allows entrepreneurs to be successful early in this cycle. The challenge of being early in a technology cycle is there's not a lot of market demand. And when you start a company when there's not a lot of market demand, you hit roadblocks. So what we do with Glimpse is we are basically a platform company where we allow entrepreneurs that fit into what Glimpse does to be part of Glimpse. We acquire their companies early in their cycle, and they join the Glimpse ecosystem, where our companies work with each other to share know-how, technology, go-to-market strategies. Each one of our companies focuses on a different part of this world that we're building, but they work together as part of the Glimpse family. Right now, we've got 10 companies that are part of Glimpse. As you can tell, they're each in different areas. We've got companies focusing on architecture, on marketing, on healthcare, on education, on financial services, on therapy and support. Many of the use cases that I've shown in this presentation are being developed by our companies as they grow. So I really thank you for your time, and I'm looking forward to engaging with you right now in the Q&A.
It was an amazing session, Lyron. It's what I feel. Great, because so you like went into such depths, okay, where you were actually showing demos and use cases. So that's what I loved about this session. Okay, there were a lot of use cases and less context. Okay, less text. Okay, and you were actually explaining, and we can see it happening out there. So that's the best part about this session. It's what I feel. It was an amazing session. So guys, if you have any questions, you can interact with Lyron sir. You can ask your questions in the live chat. So till then, I have some questions for you. So before that, so let's start with the first question. So I wanted to know, like, at the start of the PPT, you told that you have 25 years of experience. Okay, that's a lot. Okay, so like, can you give us a roadmap of your career journey, like from the day you started to now you are here? So kind of that.
Okay, so my career journey, and it's a complicated one and hard one to follow. But as I said, I'm a serial entrepreneur. I've done 4 different startups in different industries, and in between, I've gotten to learn from on other people's kind of dime. So I've kind of gone from doing startups to learning how to do things in the real world to doing my startup again, taking the learnings I learned, and then going back and forth on this. So if you look at my career, I actually started my career as an entrepreneur. And the first thing I owned, kind of as far away from virtual reality as can get, I actually had my own ice cream and coffee shop when I was in my early 20s, and learned a lot about building a business from the ground up. After I went to business school, I did a few years of management consulting, working with large companies, learning how to solve big world problems. Uh, and then I took those lessons learned and applied them on my first tech startup, a company called Webrix, where we were trying to build physical presence for online retailing back in the dot-com days of 99, 2000 in California. So trying to figure out how to teach people about e-commerce before everybody knew about e-commerce and bring e-commerce to the people. And we were kind of ahead of our times, as you can see right now. Companies are more into mixing e-commerce with physical world. Even Amazon is opening their own stores and the like. For example, in our startup, I was talking to Apple about their physical strategy before they had the Apple stores. We wanted them to be a tenant in our stores and kind of use that as a brand for Apple. After my startup, I moved into the financial services. I actually started a hedge fund focusing on investing in technology companies and did that for a few years in California. As I kind of work with companies, I started to kind of try and help them and realized that what I really want to do is run those companies. And I took over and managed a couple of technology companies, both public companies trading on NASDAQ and private companies. And now I'm back again, started Glimpse from a dream in 2016, and now it's a NASDAQ company 5.5 years later.
Wow, that's that's quite inspiring. It's what I feel. I'm so inspired and motivated, and I think the audience also is so like pumped right now because you experienced a different industries is what I feel. Okay, it's what I feel, and you had a rough start, but at the end of the day, where you are right now, it's really an honor to have you here because like I'm the very first person who has like spoken to you, I think, because from our side, okay, in this event, and it's quite inspiring to see. It's what I feel. So kudos to you, and hope you like take glimpse to success and finally expand your reign in the AR/VR industry. So best wishes from our team as well to you.
Thank you.
Great. So the next question I have is like, as you know, the currently the pandemic is going on, it's rising. Okay. So that's the current situation. So what was the effect on the AR/VR industry during this whole pandemic situation in USA, and also if you have some branches in other countries?
So when you look at the pandemic, the first piece was the shock. So when it started, it's shocking that we're almost a year and a half into the pandemic. When it started initially, everybody was shocked. So business stopped, and everybody was trying to understand what can they do to basically get together all the people that could not be together before. And as people got out of their shock after a few months, they really started exploring, and virtual reality and augmented reality took a big step forward in people's understanding of what it can bring to the table. When you look at companies that wanted to work and seeing that they can actually have meetings in virtual reality, when you see at brands that used to market where people were and realize that they can market directly to the people using augmented reality, when you see companies that explored ways of doing virtual events where the people actually can feel that they are together and taking it to the next level. So this event right now, maybe in other times we would have done it in person, and I would have come and talked to people and I'd be able to interact with them. Doing it on video like we're doing right now doesn't give us the full feeling of being in an event. You guys can ask me questions on the chat. You guys can see me on video, my presentation, but it don't get the same feeling as being with me. If we've created this event in virtual reality, even though we are not in the same physical location, there'll be the whole interaction where I would see your avatars looking at me from the crowd. I'll be able to talk to people after the event. We can kind of share information. It gives you a totally different feeling. And there's a lot of companies doing events that realize that that's the way to go rather than do the events on video only. So
Yeah, I definitely agree.
you
Yeah, I
can get the
definitely agree
benefit,
with you.
yeah, get the benefits of the real world interaction without having people needing to travel either because of the pandemic or because of the cost or time limitations and all the things that kind of prevent people traveling to events. So that's a very powerful use cases. When you look at training and the ability to train people on doing things without having them flying to different places where they need to be trained, all these things really push forward, and those are the elements. I see a question. I don't know if you want to continue your questions or go with the question from Praveen. And so his question is about, can VR and AR work together, and which one is better? That's interesting because I'll start with the second one, which is always a funny. Usually people ask me which one of my companies I like the most, which is like choosing one of your kids. Each has their own benefits. The same is with virtual reality and augmented reality. I'll explain the differences again between them and then explain how they can work together in one end and how they can, which one is better or better suited. So virtual reality is when you want to be somewhere else. So for example, if I wanted to get to this event and there's an event space that someone's designed, that's virtual reality. Kind of, if I kind of, to use this in augmented reality would be weird having all of you guys sit in my conference room here. You won't fit in. So that doesn't give me a lot of value. If I'm walking down the street and I want to know what deals are in a certain store, having augmented reality kind of basically highlights kind of deals for me that might be very customized to me because I'm the only one seeing them, and basically pulling me to go into that store. That's definitely augmented reality. Virtual reality would be weird, kind of getting lost in the middle of the street and kind of going into a real world. But if you want to go buy something in what I call e-commerce, which is a virtual store that, unlike Amazon, where you just see images and you click on things, you actually walk around and look in the store and you can try things on. That's the future of retail. That's virtual reality. There will be interconnectivity between them, potentially in the meta world. The metaverse will connect, will be built in virtual reality, but you'll be able to access it from augmented reality. So while you're in the real world, you'll still be able to interact with that metaverse, and that's where AR and VR will kind of really come together. The reason our companies, many of them do VR and AR combined, even though some are pure VR and some are pure AR, is because the back end of the technology, what if you want to be a developer, is very similar. And you can take experiences from virtual reality and bring them into augmented reality and vice versa very easily, which allows that same back end connectivity. So hopefully I answered your question. Personally, I like VR more than AR, as it really kind of is much more immersive for me, but it all depends on the use case.
Yeah, absolutely. I hope, Praveen, that answered your question. So, moving to the next question. So, the question is, when did you enter? Because you have been an entrepreneur all your career journey. Okay. So, when did you actually enter into the world of entrepreneurship, and what was your purpose behind it? Like, why?
So, as I said, I've been an entrepreneur all my life. So that kind of ice cream coffee shop was when I was 21. But even when I was in high school, I kind of did things that you would count entrepreneur. None of them became real companies, but I tried kind of building businesses. I didn't just go work for someone. And it's always been the drive of looking at the world, seeing how you can make it different, seeing how you can address a need somewhere, and try and solve that problem. And basically kind of having a dream and making it real is very powerful. and that's kind of what drove me to being an entrepreneur throughout my career. I've taken breaks from that to get experience that sometimes you need to get in bigger companies, and then bring that experience back and try and make the next business that I'm building kind of better.
Wonderful. That was a quite an explanation, and I really agree with you. Even I am a lover of entrepreneurship, and I've been into entrepreneurship for the past 3 years, and I feel the same as you, because ultimately you have a lot of experience, but when it comes to the field for entrepreneurship, like why I'm so passionate, your answer is what I feel the same for you. Okay. Because for me, it has changed my life. Okay. And that is what has brought me on track. Because earlier in my career, I was quite confused about what I need to do. But once I entered into entrepreneurship, I felt that love of building products and like changing the world basically, and coming up with such new ideas which can power change. Okay. So that was the realization which I had, and I'm still doing what I love. Okay, similar to you, but your answer would definitely help and give a lot of motivation to the upcoming entrepreneurs. So there's another question from Nas Forever.
Yeah. So Nazim, thank you for your question. So to develop VR and AR application, I'll start with those worlds are built using two main languages, which is, or it's not even languages, it's programming concepts, Unity and Unreal. So if I would advise you to kind of focus on building in those, Unity and Unreal are the building blocks of VR and most AR. AR also has a mobile element, so there's a lot of need for other kind of computer language, just building the apps and elements that build that. But the future is really to specialize in Unreal and Unity. They have different ways of building with them. Unity is easier to get started with and build with. Unreal allows you to make more beautiful worlds and is more advanced. So, kind of, if you can become powerful with Unreal, there's always demand for Unreal developers. So that's probably the kind of the recommendation I would make as a career recommendation. Unity has a lot more utilization right now, so that gives you more exposure and is probably easier to kind of become really good at.
Hope that answered your question, Nazim. If you guys have any questions, you can drop them in the live chat, and I'll ask to Lyron. So that was so. I also recall one thing, which is in shopping malls, the people there, they just have to select virtually, and it would be there on the counter. So that is also going to be the future of shopping malls. It's what I feel. Do you agree with it or not?
Oh yeah, so the future of retail will be a hybrid of the best of everything, right? So if you look at what we like shopping in real stores. You like going there, you like seeing the merchandise, you like sometimes some people don't like the help, but sometimes you like people helping you finding what you're looking for. And we also like the ability to physically get what we want quickly. We also like the choice and price and availability of everything in e-commerce. V-commerce is going to take retail and e-commerce and bring them together into the best of both world experience. You'll be going into virtual stores, walking around feeling like a real store, getting all the benefits with unlimited inventory. And eventually, I think we'll get delivery very quickly, kind of like almost instantly, either kind of using drones where you need to physically deliver, or with 3D printing that kind of the product will just be printed for you. And the other element that's very important is we're going to be buying twice. Right now, we buy clothes for the real world because that's what we need to wear. When the metaverse becomes part of our lives, we will also need our own set of clothes to kind of fit our style in the virtual world. And I believe we will get to the point where we're buying two for the price of one, or two for slightly more than the price of one, where you'll buy a real shirt and you'll get a virtual version of that shirt so your avatar can wear that as well as you go to work virtually you will wear that virtual shirt. If you're meeting a person in real life, you'll wear the real shirt. So that's where I see this is going.
Yeah, so it's so hard to imagine because the world is like rapidly changing right now. A lot of new technologies, a lot of new upgrades. Okay, and like it's like our life is becoming so much easier as compared to the earlier life, early stages of our life. Okay, the technology has really played an important role in changing our lives. Okay, whether it is AR, VR, or whether it is any other technology, it has like made us progress, okay, over the years. It's what I feel. And AR/VR is the future. It's what I feel. 101%. It's what I feel. Like from your words and from your experiences, what you guys are working at Glimpse right now, I am definitely sure that in the upcoming years, VR AR would be the future.
I agree. It is the
Yeah.
future, and the future is now.
Yeah, absolutely. Very well said, sir. So the next question is like you had a amazing career journey. So what were some of the important lessons you learned out of your career journey? What were those?
So there's a few lessons, and we can spend hours talking about lessons, but I'll kind of bring a few of those into play. First thing is, you guys gonna laugh at this. Never say no to money. It's kind of as you're building a company. Sometimes people will come up with offer, and you're like, well, I think I can do more. I can do better. If you get the chance to kind of fund what you're building, say yes. That's the first advice. The second one is never give up. It's never easy. You need to understand what you're trying to do and work hard to get there. The third one is the power of a team. Having a strong, powerful team gets you there. You can't really achieve any success on yourself. You need to find the good team where everybody's committed, everybody knows what they bring to the team and kind of understand the power of each other, and then work together to make it happen. So those are kind of three kind of nuggets of experience.
Absolutely. So they are very valuable. It's what I feel, and all the three advices which you shared, it would definitely help. So last two three questions, and if you guys have any questions, you can interact with Lyron. He's here with us for the next 10 minutes, and then we wrap up with the session. If you have any questions, ask them right now. So right now, entrepreneurship is on the boom. Okay, it's like a lot of startups are coming in. It's the startup culture right now. A lot of good companies are there in the market today, but a lot of good startups are emerging. So so when it comes to startups, it also comes through the future entrepreneurs who are going to like rule the world later on. So as as an expert in this industry in entrepreneurship, what advice do you want to give to future entrepreneurs who are looking forward to start their businesses?
So the first thing about being an entrepreneur is you need to be focused and passionate about what you want to build. If you don't have the passion for it, you're better off going to work for another company. If you're passionate about something, you have to build what you're building in the right way. So let's kind of just kind of break down what is an entrepreneurship into parts. The first thing you always have to look for is a problem. If you don't have a problem, you don't make a startup because you think something is cool. You need to find a need. The need could be it could be big, it could be small. If you live in a neighborhood that doesn't have a coffee shop, kind of there's a problem. It's not a big world problem. You're not going to be the next unicorn, kind of with that. Even though Starbucks has kind of proven that that's not always true. But if you have a local problem that you think could be addressed, and a problem doesn't always mean that nobody's doing it. If you think you can do it better, that's also a problem. So either something that nobody is solving, or something that you think you can solve better. And the kind of technology is usually where we solve something better than what was done before. That's the first important element of entrepreneurship. The second important element is once you've identified the problem, is you need to be able to solve that problem. That's kind of sounds easy, right? But that's the hard part, is kind of because if the solution is easy, someone else would have already solved it. So it is very important to kind of basically make that leap of faith. First of all, understand what is the issue that you're trying to address. Why are you building this company? Why are you building this business? And once you understand the issue, understand how you're going to solve it, either better, differently, or uniquely, doing that. And then the third piece is how do you convert that solution to that problem into a business? Because if you have a solution to a problem, that's great. But if you don't know how to build a business and you're not building it with the foundations of a business and an operation, something that's repeatable, then someone else is going to see your solution and just go do it for you. So those are the three elements. If you successfully navigate those three elements, you will have a successful business. And if you have the
Absolutely.
passion, you'll be able to go through the trials and tribulations that go through these motions and kind of emerge on the other side.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, three golden tips which would definitely help the future entrepreneurs. So I feel this situation, and I think every entrepreneur is facing the situation that, let's say, he has an idea, he has a solution, he has everything. So let's say if he needs funds to build a startup, so they have to go through certain venture capital rounds, VC rounds, and stuff like that, and go through a pitch to a lot of investors. Okay, so that is the hardest part. It's what I feel of converting your business in the earlier stages, like in the seed fund. Okay, the seed fund is very important. Okay, so from now, being a veteran yourself, okay, what tips you want to give when, let's say, if I'm a person, if I have a startup and I'm approaching an investor, so what your advice would be for that?
That's a really good question. And there's a few different answers for that. The first element is people invest in people. So, regardless of everything I said earlier about having a problem and having a solution and having a business out of it, all of that you need to show. But at the end of the day, the number one thing any investor, and it doesn't matter if it's a seed round or a Series A or a Series D, they're investing in the person. So you need to connect with them. You need to show passion. You need to sell yourself. That's what you're doing. When you go meet with an investor, you're selling yourself. So you need to put together a good presentation. You need to have all the kind of elements that kind of show that kind of here's the issue you're addressing and here's how you're going to address it and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, if you're not selling yourself, you will not be successful. Second important lesson is if someone says no and then gives you why, don't listen to that why. That why is not relevant. If someone you come to present to such an investor and they say, oh, this looks great, but you don't have a 5-year marketing plan. Don't go back and say, you know what, Cam, that was my problem. I didn't have a 5-year marketing plan. Let me go spend some time and build a really good marketing plan and maybe come back to that investor or go to other investors. Most likely that was not your problem. That's a good excuse to get you out of the way. Investors, we all know what word they don't like to say. Yes, right? That they're not really good at saying yes. The second word they don't like to say is no. Absolutely, just get out of here. I'm not investing in you. They like to keep the options open. So usually they will tell you, very interesting, but, and they'll kind of throw something in there, and knowing that they want to keep talking to you, but they're definitely not investing in you. The people to listen to are the people that say yes. If they say yes and give you some money, Now they've got skin in the game. They're with you. Most of the time, if they have that money, they have a lot of experience. Those people you want to listen to. You always know more about your business than anyone else, but people that are willing to put their money with you are worth listening to.
Absolutely. So again, good piece of advices there, and it can help me as well because I also didn't know about all these things. These things are very important whenever you are trying to pitch to an investor. These things which you shared, it would definitely help. So let's wrap with this session. So before we end this session, I want to personally thank you, Lyron sir, for your time, for your valuable knowledge, and taking us through this world of AR, VR, and how it's going to change the world. All these things which you explained in this session, it's very helpful. It was quite informative, interactive, and I hope the audience has enjoyed the entire session. Also, this questionnaire session which we had, where I got to know about you a lot about your stint in entrepreneurship and about how you built your startup. So it was, and the tips which you shared. Okay, it would definitely help. Each and every advice, each and every tip which you shared would definitely help. So thank you so much once again for
My
your time.
pleasure. I enjoyed being here. Really good, smart questions, and I appreciate the thank for in the comments. And good luck, everyone. Dream it and make it happen. That's what you need to do. So hopefully, there's a lot
Yeah,
of entrepreneurs in the crowd, and you guys will be very successful. Thank you very much.
absolutely. Absolutely. So before we go, Lyron sir, some last words of motivation, uh, just to end this entire, because coming motivation from your end would also motivate us. That's so some last words
Yeah.
before we
So
go.
if you dream it, and if you work really really hard, and if you're creative and you put together the right team, you will make it happen. That's what you guys need to do. It's about believing in yourselves and converting that energy that you're building as you believe in yourselves into building something and making the world a better one. So good luck, everyone.
Absolutely, that was quite a motivation, and it's an amazing day today. So this is our second session, and we are wrapping our day one on a very positive note with a person like you. And if you guys are interested in connecting with Lyron sir, his LinkedIn handle is there in the description box, so you can go check it out. Reach out to him if you are interested into the AR/VR industry. Go check out Glimpse. Okay, the work they have been doing for the community, and also to connect with Lyron sir as well if you have any doubts. He's a very good person, and he'll definitely help you with whatever you, whenever he's free, he'll get in touch with you. And so that's all for today's session. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something new. Okay, it's not like you are into the game, but learning every day is very important. So hope that you join our second session. That is the day two. That is tomorrow. So it's going to be delivered by Kaushik Mohan Raj, who is the director for BlazeScan. Like he's a director for Malaysia for BlazeScan Technologies, and he's going to speak about cloud-enabled digital transformation. So it's going to be from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. So make sure you join in. So that's IST. Okay, do join in for day two, and we have day three sessions as well, coming from such industry experts like Lyron. Okay, so who are there to help you or there to guide you. And on the ending note, I just wanted to say thank you so much once again, Lyron, and to the audience as well for your presence. I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you later.
Thank you and have a nice evening.
Bye, everyone. Thank you all for joining. It's been a great day today, and thank you so much for all the love and support. Do check out Industry Inspire Talks LinkedIn handles. All the social links are there in the description box. Do check it out. We also do episodes, industry episodes. All are posted, so do check it out. Also, do check out our website, and we'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye, everyone. Take care.